Welcome to Cellular Wisdom, where we get to the root of health myths with a dash of wit. I'm Ethan Foster, your resident observer of the human condition. If you're expecting me to provide lively breakdances or spontaneous confetti showers, that's probably not going to happen. I prefer the kind of party where I can quietly comment on everyone's questionable decisions.
And I'm Alara Sky, sharp mind, sharper tongue, here to poke fun at the nonsense in natural health while also championing the good parts. Think of me as the comedic crusader against misinformation, but I do it wearing metaphorical boxing gloves made of broccoli.
It's good to see you took up the crucial cause of produce-based self-defense. Today's episode is titled, Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. We'll explore some of the fascinating facts from Dr. Mercola's work. But as always, we'll do it with a dash of deadpan and a sprinkle of sarcasm.
Nothing says I love health more than mockery, right? Don't worry, folks. Beneath our comic exteriors, we actually do care about your well-being. We just happen to care about it in a delightfully witty way.
Absolutely. So let's dive in. One of the biggest topics making rounds in health circles is the rising tide of allergies in America. According to the Allergy and Asthma Network, 1 in 5 Americans have an environmental allergy. That's about 20% of the population.
I like how it's worded. 1 in 5 Americans have an environmental allergy. It makes it sound as though the other 4 are blissfully frolicking in meadows of pollen, hugging cats, and rolling in fresh-cut grass with no repercussions. Meanwhile, that 5th person is sneezing themselves into next week and racking up $8 billion in annual economic losses.
It's remarkable that just by sneezing, watery eyes, and general discomfort, we can manage to lose $8 billion. If I had known a runny nose could be so unprofitable, I would have invested in tissues.
Let's all buy stocks and handkerchiefs. But it isn't just about sneezing. Allergies can derail people's daily routines, productivity, and general mood. We tend to think of allergies as minor annoyances, but cumulatively, they're quite a burden.
All kidding aside, those with severe allergies can barely function when the triggers come out. That's why so many folks are turning to alternative solutions. Dr. Mercola has highlighted the role of certain flavonoids like kaempferol that may help with allergies.
Kaempferol. It's that hidden gem found in leafy greens, broccoli, spinach, cabbage, you name it. You know how moms used to say, eat your greens? Turns out they might as well have said, eat your kaempferol for an anti-allergic bonus. I'm sure that would have gone over well with the children at the dinner table.
That's exactly how to get kids excited about salad. Just sprinkle in the word kaempferol. I can hear it now. Mom, can we please have more kaempferol for dinner? Said no child ever.
Someday, though. The study from Tokyo University of Science found that kaempferol helps boost the intestinal enzyme RALDH2, which is a champion in converting vitamin A-derived retinol into retinoic acid. This retinoic acid promotes the development of regulatory T cells, which can suppress allergic responses.
So basically, if I want to chat up someone at a dinner party about retinoic acid, I can start by referencing broccoli. It's great. Excuse me, did you know that the humble broccoli spear is basically a superhero in disguise for your immune system?
All parties should be that exciting, Ethan. But yes, it's a neat mechanism. The moral of the story: some allergies might improve if we eat foods high in kaempferol, because that might help regulate those hypersensitive immune responses. I imagine if you're sneezing your head off, a plate of leafy greens might be more appealing than an endless supply of antihistamine pills.
And let's not forget you'll look sophisticated, swirling your fork in a bed of spinach while pontificating on RALDH2. So I guess the main point is that there are natural solutions that show real promise for people dealing with allergies.
I think so. Now, speaking of allergies, Dr. Mercola also points out that if we suspect certain foods are behind our allergic reactions, we might try an elimination diet. You systematically remove suspected foods from your diet, watch for improvements, and then slowly reintroduce them to see which ones are the culprits.
To me, that sounds like detective work for your dinner plate. You systematically root out the prime suspects. You, tomato, come with me for questioning. Eggplant, you're next. Don't try to run. I can see you creeping in that roasted veggie medley.
Exactly. But the key is not to avoid these foods permanently if they're important nutritionally, unless it's a life-threatening situation. Because if you omit everything, you'll likely be left with a couple of boring, non-allergenic foods and a nutritional deficiency, and nobody wants that, especially not your taste buds.
Right. So, we figure out which foods are troublemakers and then consider ways to manage them in smaller doses. We don't want to end up malnourished. That's not exactly our health goals. We need variety, especially if we want to glean that beautiful synergy of nutrients.
Precisely. And that synergy is something that shows up a lot in Dr. Mercola's approach. I mean, we're talking about managing allergies from multiple angles, like taking vitamin C, which has surprising antihistamine properties.
Yes, vitamin C, everyone's old friend. People reach for vitamin C when they feel a cold coming on. But apparently it can also reduce the release of histamine. According to some data, a daily dose of 300 to 500 milligrams of vitamin C can degrade histamine and inhibit mast cell degranulation.
Mast cell degranulation. Always a lovely phrase, right? It conjures up images of tiny, angry mast cells popping like confetti cannons. But that confetti is, in fact, histamine. Less confetti means fewer allergic symptoms. So hooray for vitamin C as the conscientious party planner who cleans up before the chaos escalates.
That's one confetti party I'd prefer to skip. But it's interesting how vitamin C can reduce plasma histamine levels by up to 40% in 2 weeks, according to some studies. That's no small effect.
It's a big deal for folks who are constantly battling runny noses and watery eyes. The best part is, vitamin C is easy to find in fruits and veggies, red bell peppers, citrus fruits, broccoli, parsley, and you can also keep liposomal vitamin C on hand for times of acute need.
So, if I'm feeling that dreaded tingle in my nasal passages, I can pop some vitamin C and hopefully ward off the unstoppable sneeze. At least, that's the dream. Meanwhile, I can also munch on fresh oranges. So many ways to get it.
The question is, does the Orange Lovers Club come with official membership cards? If not, we should start one. But jokes aside, vitamin C is a cornerstone of Dr. Mercola's approach for dealing with infections and allergies. It's the multitasking nutrient that we all know about, but seldom appreciate how versatile it truly is.
Speaking of versatile, let's talk about turmeric and its main compound, curcumin. It's long been known for anti-inflammatory properties, but apparently it helps with allergies too.
Turmeric is like that friend who's good at everything. Anti-inflammatory? Check. Antiseptic? Check. Anti-tumor? Sure. And now it's anti-allergic too. It's amazing how one spice can do so much, but the science on curcumin is robust.
I read about a study where a participant with severe wheezing due to hay fever started taking curcumin tablets. Over a few months, his need for oral steroids plummeted. Although he still needed inhalers, that's a pretty impressive result.
And it's not that far-fetched either. Curcumin has a strong track record in modulating inflammatory pathways. Now, I'm not saying we all have to chug golden milk by the gallon, but adding turmeric to our diets or supplements might be helpful. Plus, it gives food that vibrant color. Talk about aesthetic appeal.
I do enjoy a good curry, so if you see me overdoing the curry night after night, you'll know I'm chasing that sweet, sweet curcumin gold. Apologies in advance to my future dinner guests who might tire of the bright yellow theme.
Bring on the saffron-colored table linens. But yes, curcumin is one player in the fight against allergies. Another star on the stage is quercetin. Dr. Mercola points out how it's one of the most potent anti-allergy flavonoids. It helps modulate histamine release.
Isn't it interesting that we now have multiple flavonoids, kaempferol, quercetin, and others tag-teaming to help us? We're building a squad of allergy-fighting nutrients. It's like the Avengers of the produce aisle.
Except they're wearing green capes made of spinach, onion skins, and apple peels. Quercetin is especially abundant in onions, apples, berries, even green tea. If you're feeling extra daring, onion skins are said to be loaded with quercetin, 77 times more than the flesh.
So if I want the ultimate quercetin hit, I should nibble on onion skins like some kind of rabbit? I might become the talk of the neighborhood. That Ethan guy is literally standing in his yard gnawing onion skins. We're worried about him.
Hey, at least your neighbors would keep a respectful distance if your breath perpetually smelled like raw onion. But fortunately, you can steep them in a broth. That's less socially destructive.
Right, a nice onion skin broth. That's definitely one of those cooking hacks that's been floating around. It's thrifty too. People are always tossing those skins. Little do they know they're tossing out quercetin gold.
Exactly. And if you want to get fancy, you could do your own spin on onion skin soup. Serve it to unsuspecting dinner guests, then casually mention they're ingesting quercetin. Because who doesn't love a surprise science lesson at the table?
Yes, I'm sure that's at the top of everyone's dinner wish list. Now, Dr. Mercola also suggests combining quercetin with other beneficial substances like stinging nettle, butterbur extract, ginger, vitamin C, and vitamin D. All these form a synergy to keep allergies at bay.
I like that synergy idea. It's the principle of 1 + 1 = 3. You combine the right substances, and they amplify each other's effects. Of course, it means we need a varied diet and some strategic supplementation. But for people dealing with severe allergies, that might be well worth exploring.
Precisely. Instead of relying on any single solution, a multifaceted approach can be better. Now, I also want to circle back to that concept of building resistance by slowly reintroducing allergic foods, as Dr. Mercola points out. There's research indicating that if your body isn't constantly bombarded with histamine triggers, you might be able to tolerate them better over time.
Right. It's similar to the idea behind immunotherapy for allergies, except on a smaller scale. You take a break from the triggers, let your system calm down, and then carefully reintroduce the offenders so your body might adapt. It's like teaching your immune system to handle that stimulus without going nuclear.
And hopefully you can enjoy those foods again without unleashing a sneezing apocalypse. Now, let's pivot a bit to Dr. Mercola's new bestseller. The man's been pumping out health advice for years, and apparently his new book is flying off the shelves.
He's calling it Your Guide to Cellular Health in some marketing. That's apt because everything he promotes revolves around the cellular level: nutrients, enzymes, metabolic pathways. It's not just about symptom management. It's about diving into the root cause at the cellular level.
Which is sort of what we're discussing here. At the cellular level, certain enzymes like RALDH2 get a boost from kaempferol. That leads to better retinoic acid production, which influences regulatory T cells, which in turn can calm allergies. It's all interconnected.
Yep, the body is an orchestra, and each nutrient is an instrument. If one is out of tune, the entire piece can be thrown off. People like to blame the clarinet, but sometimes it's the percussion. In this analogy, maybe the clarinet is vitamin C and the flute is quercetin. Either way, synergy matters.
I'm now imagining my entire immune system as a symphony playing Beethoven's Ninth. The horns are definitely my histamines, coming in loud and brash. Kaempferol is that sweet violin note that balances them out.
Beautiful image. Next time you sneeze, just picture a rogue trumpet. Now, going back to allergies and daily life, we might wonder, how practical is it to keep track of all these flavonoids? People are busy. Not everyone wants to memorize the word retinaldehyde dehydrogenase 2, especially not first thing in the morning.
Right, so the strategy is to make it simpler. Eat a wide variety of whole foods, particularly fruits and veggies that are known to be high in these beneficial compounds. Then, keep a few key supplements on hand for those extra rainy days, or should I say extra polleny days.
Though I do think telling people to eat whole foods can sound vague. Everyone says that. But it's specifically about the variety: broccoli, spinach, onions, apples, berries, peppers, citrus, green tea, and so on. If we can remember these staples, we're basically getting multiple flavonoids and vitamins at once.
Like a rainbow on your plate, everyone says eat the rainbow, but ironically, that phrase is now associated with candy commercials. Let's reclaim it for actual nutritious foods. Those imaginary rainbow arcs of produce can keep the confetti cannons at bay.
And ironically, we'll have the last laugh because we won't be kneeling over a box of tissues. Now, as for folks who want to read more about these deeper cellular mechanisms, that's probably where Dr. Mercola's new bestseller comes in. He's presumably delving into the science behind everything from allergies to broader immune function.
He definitely loves to explore how the body's biochemistry can be influenced by the right diet and lifestyle. That might mean short letters on allergy relief or entire chapters on the microbiome. In all cases, the message is that your body has an innate capacity to heal if you give it the right building blocks.
Which is uplifting. Instead of being doomed by your genes, you can actively shape your health with informed choices. And that's the underlying cellular wisdom. My comedic cynicism aside, that's empowering if you stop to think about it.
Now, let's step back and look at the bigger picture. Allergies are on the rise, likely due to environmental factors, changes in our diet, maybe even altered gut microbiomes. People reach for quick fixes, but there's an argument that targeted, natural approaches can offer real relief without some of the side effects of conventional medications.
Which doesn't mean there's never a place for an antihistamine. But if we can add natural methods, like boosting vitamin C intake, quercetin, kaempferol, curcumin, doing elimination diets, maybe we can reduce our reliance on pharmaceuticals. That's a big part of what Dr. Mercola teaches.
Exactly. And while we're at it, let's not forget the lifestyle pieces that go hand in hand with a healthy diet, like adequate sleep, stress management, and time outdoors. Sometimes simply getting more sunshine can boost your vitamin D, which helps your immune system regulate itself more effectively.
We have to mention that Dr. Mercola has hammered home the importance of vitamin D for immune function, so it's only fitting we give a nod to the sunshine vitamin. It helps orchestrate immune responses, which can be a game changer in how our bodies handle allergens.
So we have a potluck of beneficial nutrients: vitamin D, vitamin C, quercetin, kaempferol, curcumin. Throw in some good old-fashioned fresh air, adequate hydration, maybe a daily walk, and you have a more robust line of defense.
And if you occasionally indulge in onion skin broth, you'll get a standing ovation from your immune system. Just maybe brush your teeth afterwards if you plan on having any social interactions.
Noted. Now, since we're highlighting Dr. Mercola's perspective, let's also mention one aspect he's always keen on: avoiding heavily processed foods that can irritate the gut, because a compromised gut can lead to a more inflammatory response overall.
Yes, the standard American diet, often high in sugars, refined carbs, and additives, can stoke the flames of inflammation. That sets the stage for more pronounced allergic reactions. So simply cutting back on junk can help. I realize this is common advice, but it's worth repeating because so many people are still stuck in processed food land.
It's a valid point. We can't expect to quell allergies if our body is constantly in a state of unrest due to poor nutrition. A balanced, mostly whole food diet is like giving your immune system a comfortable bed and a warm blanket instead of making it sleep on a bed of nails.
That is a very cozy analogy. And you're right, comfort matters. A nourished body is better equipped to handle seasonal pollen or that whiff of cat dander. It's a step-by-step process. Clean up the diet, identify triggers, integrate supportive nutrients, and watch how your body responds.
Now, one thing Dr. Mercola also touches on is the difference between an allergic reaction and a food intolerance. They're not always the same. A true allergy involves your immune system going haywire. An intolerance might be an enzyme deficiency or another non-immune mechanism.
Yes, so sometimes people blame an allergy when it might be something else. If we feel bloated after dairy, for instance, Is it lactose intolerance, a dairy allergy, or something else? The elimination diet approach can help differentiate, and testing might be useful too.
But as we said, you don't want to cut out entire food groups forever if you don't have to. That can lead to big nutrient gaps. Mercola emphasizes that the aim is to figure out the culprit, not to live in fear of every item in the grocery store.
Totally. It's about playing detective, not becoming a food hermit who only eats celery and water. Though that's ironically a quick route to make yourself allergic to social events. We can do better by being systematic and balanced.
So, from what I gather, this episode's takeaway is that allergies in the US are not a trivial matter. But there are natural compounds, like kaempferol, quercetin, vitamin C, curcumin, that have been shown to help reduce allergic responses by targeting the underlying immune mechanisms.
Right. And if you combine that with an awareness of trigger foods and a plan for reintroducing them, you might significantly lessen your suffering. Also, Dr. Mercola's new bestseller apparently guides readers through many such approaches, focusing on cellular health.
He's all about that deep dive into what's happening at the microscopic level. If you can tweak those pathways, you might see real changes in how your body handles allergens.
And that's the essence of cellular wisdom, understanding the little processes that lead to big health outcomes, and using that knowledge to your advantage, with a healthy dash of comedic commentary from us, naturally.
Naturally, I'd like to think we're the comedic garnish on the nutritional entree, a bit of witty parsley on the side, if you will.
Witty parsley is definitely your new nickname. But jokes aside, it's exciting to see that allergies need not be a life sentence of misery. We can do a lot to support our bodies, choosing better foods, exploring natural anti-inflammatories, and fine-tuning the immune response.
Right, and that's pretty empowering. You're not just a victim of pollen count. Maybe you can reduce that sneezing or itching by consistent dietary choices. Maybe fewer tissues piling up in the trash. Maybe more money saved by not investing in 8 boxes of antihistamines every month.
Exactly. And if we can do that, we can also focus on bigger health goals, like training for a 5K without an inhaler, or just enjoying the great outdoors without worrying about every single sniffle.
Small steps add up. Just like 1 or 2 changes in your diet can start shifting your immune system's balance. Who knows? You might end up discovering that onion skin broth is your new super soup, or that parsley-laden salads keep those sinuses happy.
Well, maybe let's not oversell onion skins to the point people start hoarding them in bulk. But yes, it can be a hidden gem. I just love how produce items that used to be trash can be repurposed for health benefits. It's kind of poetic.
It's the perfect underdog story. Onion skins, once discarded, now revered. The only problem is that onion skin mania might drive up the price of onions. Imagine that scenario. Hey, why is a bag of onions $20 now? Because you can't put a price on quercetin-laden skins, obviously.
Let's just keep that a secret between us, so we don't disrupt the onion market. All right, so we've covered a lot. The synergy of nutrients, how to do an elimination diet, the importance of reintroducing foods, and Dr. Mercola's emphasis on looking at the cellular roots of allergies. Anything else on your mind, Ethan?
I'm thinking about the big takeaway for our audience. If they want to incorporate these ideas, it doesn't have to be complicated. They can start small. Add more leafy greens for kaempferol, eat more apples or onions for quercetin, incorporate turmeric for curcumin, and don't forget vitamin C from peppers or citrus.
Yes, and for those who like to read, they can check out Dr. Mercola's latest book for more details on how to apply that at a deeper level. Because once you realize how important these nutrients are for immune function, it can really motivate you to keep that produce section front and center in your grocery routine.
And with that, we should probably wrap up. I need to go rummage through my kitchen to see if I still have any onion skins left. Also, I plan on making a big pot of broccoli spinach soup. No joke.
You do that. Meanwhile, I'll be restocking my vitamin C supply and maybe sprinkling turmeric on everything, like a stealthy ninja spice. Let's see how many dinners I can turn bright yellow before someone notices.
You'll know it's too much when your family starts wearing sunglasses at the dinner table. But hey, anything for that immune-friendly lifestyle. In any case, we hope everyone's found this discussion illuminating, or at least mildly entertaining. This has been another episode of Cellular Wisdom.
I, for one, hope we've offered some comedic respite while also dropping real science-based tidbits. Thanks for tuning in, folks. And remember, your body's got a lot going on behind the scenes. Help it out with a balanced diet, some carefully chosen supplements, and the occasional onion skin broth if you're feeling daring.
Until next time, this is Ethan Foster, still the quiet observer, though maybe less quiet around you, dear audience, because I just can't resist commenting on the wonders of our cellular world.
And this is Alara Sky, always ready to crack a joke while your histamines stand down. Stay well, stay curious, and keep discovering your own cellular wisdom. Cheers.